Good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy, Pigskin Pete here. Happy Monday to everybody. Man, I did not expect some of the chaos that happened over this past weekend. So I was out of town. I wasn't home. And so I didn't get to watch a whole lot of football. As a matter of fact, I didn't really watch any. But with Oregon losing, right, and then there was an exciting game between Penn State and Ohio State. I said last week's video when I did my projections for these college football playoff rankings each week, I said there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of movement other than Penn State losing and falling out, or Ohio State possibly losing and moving down. But I mean, I didn't see the Oregon thing coming, so that really throws a loop in a lot of things. I mean, the Oklahoma fans were happy to see Oregon lose, right? Alabama fans were happy to see Oregon lose. So hold on, let's just go ahead and put up here on the screen what the committee had them ranked last week. All these teams. So there you have on the left-hand side of your screen. They had Minnesota at 10, Oklahoma at 9, Penn State at 8, Utah at 7, Oregon at 6, Alabama 5, Georgia 4, Clemson 3, Ohio State 2, and of course the LSU Fighting Ed Orgeron's number 1. So of course we just like we just mentioned. Now look, Clemson had a bye week. LSU played a terrible Arkansas team and beat the brakes off of them. Georgia had a very interesting, close game with Texas A&M. Alabama had a cupcake game against a team called Western Carolina. Oregon lost. Utah dominated. Penn State lost. Oklahoma. What did Oklahoma do? Either won or didn't play. I can't remember. Anyway, and then of course Minnesota. All right. So here I'm gonna go one by one on where I think they're going to put them this week. See if we can get this. This is getting tough to figure out now because a lot of these teams, with Oregon losing, that really throws a lot of crazy wrenches into this. But let's just see if I can nail this down. I've done pretty good the past couple of weeks in trying to figure this out. I've been pretty close. I think the last couple of weeks I've been off just by one team or had a couple teams switched places, but been pretty good. All right, so number 10. Again, this is my projection of what the committee is going to do come tomorrow night. Penn State at 10. Now, that you can see right there, I have Florida at number 9. Very possible they could have Florida at 10, Penn State at 9. Wisconsin's another interesting one that could possibly be in this top 10. These top 8, 9, and 10 are pretty tough to figure out, quite honestly. The reason I have Florida in there, first of all, I don't think that Florida should be in the top 10. So I don't want to, before you start typing about how I'm, showing SEC bias or whatever the hell that you want to tell me, it's not happening. Okay. The reason I have Florida in there at 9 or even 10, if they have them there, is because they have been wanting to put Florida in the top 10 for several weeks now. I mean, Florida's got 2 losses. They were at 10. They finally got bumped out to 11, and they've been sitting right there at 11 for the past couple of weeks. For some reason, they want Florida up there. Right? Out of all the 2-loss teams, they're the highest ranked. Florida is. They have been all year. So I feel like they're just trying to find a reason to put them in the top 10. So I think Florida come in either at 10 or 9, but for the purposes of this video and this projection I'm doing, Penn State 10, Florida 9. Again, I also think Wisconsin is right there as somebody that could possibly move into the top 10. So we'll see. All right, so moving on. We will do 7, 6, and 5. So, of course, last week, as you could see here, so first of all, Oregon losing helped out a lot of teams, right? It helped out, obviously helped out Utah. It obviously helped out Oklahoma. It obviously helped out Minnesota, okay? So, of course, Minnesota this week plays Wisconsin, so that'll make some movement in this top 10 as well. For all the conspiracy theorists out there that think that the committee does rankings based on what's going to make the best TV ratings and all that sort of thing, then the conspiracy theorists will think that maybe Wisconsin will be ranked in the top 10 this week, just so Minnesota and Wisconsin it'll be a top 10 matchup and they can sell it that way. I don't buy into that. I don't really think the committee members sit around talking about TV ratings at all. But anyway, go crazy with it if you're one of those conspiracy people. Have fun with that. All right, so I have Oklahoma at 7 again. This is more has to do with Oregon and Penn State losing than anything else, right? Because at this point now, Penn State has 2 losses. Oklahoma still only has 1, so I think they'll move up 1. Utah is a big-time beneficiary of this. Now, I don't know. I think if you're a Utah fan, which I don't really know any Utah fans, but I'm sure there are some out there in Utah especially. that are probably not very happy with Oregon right now. It would have been much more compelling and helpful for Utah to play a one-loss top 10 Oregon team in the Pac-12 championship. It would help their case to get in the playoffs. If there's other teams right there and they're trying to decide between Utah and some other team, be it Oklahoma or Alabama or whoever, it's nice to say we beat a top 10 team. Well, at this point, I don't think Oregon's going to be in the top 10. And it's not because Oregon's not one of the 10 best teams in the country, because I still believe that they probably are, but now they have 2 losses. One of them, if you want to call it a good loss or whatever, is to Auburn in a last-second play on a neutral field on week 1. So that was forgivable. This thing against Arizona State is not forgivable. Arizona State's not a very good team. And, so that's pretty much all there is to that. So anyway, I'm not sure. If you're a Utah fan, you probably wanted Oregon to win out all the way until they played you, but they didn't. So that hurts you a little bit maybe. But luckily, Utah dominated, and they did everything they needed to do. Utah looks like a really good team, by the way. They're not a one-trick pony. Their offense is getting better, and their defense is as good as anybody's in America. I mean, I haven't watched 4 or 5 complete Utah games, but I did watch the one they lost, the USC game, and I watched one more, and they're a legit team. They're a legit team. Now, I still think that there's 3 teams that are at the top, and then there's everybody else. But anyway, so I'm projecting Oklahoma at 7, Utah at 6, and of course you can see Alabama I think will remain at 5. Even though they played Western Carolina. That's the reason why. I mean, I know Alabama. I've heard from some Alabama fans, or at least read on the internet or on Twitter and stuff, that they're saying we should jump Georgia because Georgia almost blew it against Texas A&M. Well, I don't think the committee's really going to reward you for blowing out a nobody in Western Carolina. Western Carolina is a team that lost to Wofford by 50 points. So you could beat them 100-0, and it wouldn't impress anybody. So I think Bama will stay right there at 5. And so let's go ahead and put up 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm going to catch hell about this. You can see Georgia stays where they were, which I think is appropriate. Clemson stays where they were. And just like I did last week, I'm attempting to flip Ohio State and LSU. And again, every time I do this, I have somebody coming at me first of all, I think Ohio State and Clemson should be 1 and 2. But I'm not doing what I think. I'm doing what I think they're going to do. And here's my reasoning behind this. Yes, LSU blew out a bad Arkansas team, but Ohio State beat. Now, some will say, well, Ohio State struggled. They shot themselves in the foot. They let Penn State get back in that game. Well, here's the way I look at it. Penn State was a top 10 team. Ohio State, they did try to shoot themselves in the foot. They had a couple of silly turnovers, especially that one down on the goal line with Justin Fields fumbled. But even when Ohio State didn't really play its A game, right? It might have been its B or C game, right? Compared to what they normally do. They still won by 2 scores against a really good Penn State team. So I think that they'll probably jump LSU. Now, if it doesn't happen just because of those turnovers and they only won by 11 instead of 25 or whatever, and they keep LSU at 1, that wouldn't surprise me. But I'm predicting that they're going to make a jump. Now, if they don't jump them this week, if Ohio State does not jump ahead of LSU this week, they certainly will next week if they beat Michigan, because that'll be a considerable better win than what LSU is going to have in Texas A&M, because A&M is now a 4-loss team. All right, so there you guys have it. I'm gonna predict here: Penn State, Florida, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Utah, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, and Ohio State. The real interesting part of this will be those top 3 or 4, anywhere from 8 through 12. Let's say, of course, I only have 10 on here, not 12, but those teams that are sitting at 11 and 12 could easily be on this in this top 10 as well. We'll just have to see what they do and how they justify what they did. This is the reason I do these videos. These are the reasons I do these projections, because it's fun to try to figure out how the committee thinks. Even though it's probably a fool's errand, I still love trying to figure out what they're going to do. I don't know. It's entertaining to me. I don't know if it is to you. I could do like every other person in the media and on YouTube and just put out my personal opinion about everything. But my personal opinion, I mean, I could have friggin' Baylor at number 1. Would it really matter what I say? Of course it wouldn't, because I'm not on the committee. I'm not in the AP. I'm not a Heisman voter. I'm basically not anything. So, all right. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys tomorrow evening, Tuesday evening. Oh, by the way, all you Clemson fans, there's a link in the description of this video. Click that link if you want to get your cycling out, your Clemson Tigers cycling out T-shirts. Also, of course, the betnow.eu hashtag Sam Strong if you guys want to make a wager on college football, support a good cause in St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Click the link, use the promo code Peete, P-E-E-T-E in all caps, sign up, play, win, send me some money if you win. If you don't. All right, guys, I'll see you guys very soon. Pigskin Pete is checking out.